All right, give me 1 second here. I erase my scores.
So I'm only doing this only because Mesa, just how you are. We had the time to prep all stuff. If you want to stick around, obviously I would love for you to stick around, but technically because you can't win, I am giving you an out just because you have thrown that out there. So
I'm
okay.
out.
Yeah.
I
would never do that, but I know that I appreciate you even giving this a chance because you're not a debater. You did a great job.
Should we do a goodbye clip with him, and I'll just say it and we'll talk, and then
we'll just do it as an official elimination. He's gonna go, so we'll do that.
I'm past my bedtime anyway. So
I'll just have you two on screen. You'll just do a little post interview real quick. Nothing.
Like I said, like a quick. Yeah. So
yeah.
Close them though.
So unfortunately, before we get to the main event, Steve, you are mathematically eliminated. We did see huge growth from the first question to the fourth question. Obviously, not your forte, not something you do all the time.
Nope.
How you feeling? What do you got to say? Any plugs on the way out?
I hope. I was hoping to do some anarchy while I was here in the war room, and I think I achieved something. So while I didn't get any points, I believe I got metaphorical points in what Seth Rollins' theme is. Burn it all fucking down. So I think I did that. So, I just had so the first one, I was really having difficulty because I haven't debated since literally maybe a year and a half ago when I did my second Battlegrounds, and that was even a fucking disaster. So I know people saying, I'm getting good at debating, but for me, I'm not a great arguer. I don't argue. I'm a person that listens more and then gives my own opinion. And I don't like fighting people. I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover. So
you're definitely a lover. So
a lover of Scream movies and a lover of Jennifer Jolie.
When we have the love exhibition, we're going to invite you back, and you can spread that love exhibition all over.
For this be the first, I think this might be the first and only time I'll be in the war room. But never say never. But I will say never for now. But yes, at Mesa Media, I'm going to be, if you guys are in the Richmond, Virginia area, I will be at GalaxyCon Richmond, where I will be hosting Freshly Squeezed Wrestling Trivia. And if you know what I mean by Freshly Squeezed Wrestling Trivia, you know what you're going to get into. So give me a little good old thumbs up. And I'll see you guys there because I got some real awesome prizes that'll be passed out for those who can go toe-to-toe with the OG OC.
All right. Well, we look forward to that. If you're in Virginia, check that out, Steve. We'll see you next time.
So how's this last round work?
All right. So I guess put me with the judges again, and I'll introduce the main event, and then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we all in this? I don't know. I was confused.
Yeah. Because you all have a chance to win or tie.
Yeah. It's an exhibition, so it's cool. Tie double champion. I don't give a shit. That actually makes it cooler because it's like, hell yeah, anyone can win.
All right. That being said, now the score is 2-1 to 1. Chava 2, JPO and Henry Evetrich 1, and we are going to go into the fifth round, which is the main event. Question that I wrote myself, and I'm kind of proud of it. The Scream franchise, as it is, it is a horror movie franchise. People get killed. Horrible things happen. People losing parents, siblings, friends, cousins. Everyone's dying. But really, there's a bright side to it. So which character is really having the most positive experience in the face of the Woodsboro murders? That being said, Chad drew the first round in this one, and we're going to have Chad's opening argument right now.
You want me to start?
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Yeah, no, John actually said it right. There's a lot of misery in this goddamn franchise that we love so much, but sometimes there is a brighter outlook that you can see. I chose the star of it all, or the start of most of it, Sidney Prescott. When I look at the positivity that comes from a lot of negative stuff that happens, I see a lot of character growth for Sidney. I see a lot of strength. I see a lot of inner strength and her helping a lot of other people from what she went through. So having a lot of positivity come from that and then pushing that back out into the world. And then I also see Sidney the most out of at least all of the choices and a lot of other characters in this franchise just having a really perfect ending. She has the life that she always wanted with a husband, with a kid. She's living in the suburbs. She's probably not even going to return to this franchise. And I think that's for the best because she is the most positive character. She has the most positive outlook.
And next, we move on to Henry. Henry, which one of these characters having a good old time in the face of all this tragedy?
So the only person that there's a clear answer to this, and that's the person that has actually benefited from the actual murders with the entire thing, and that is Gale Weathers. She literally wrote the book, the Woodsboro Murders, and she's had literally, we talked about in the last question, she actually had an actress portray her because of just she's not necessarily the face of the franchise in terms of the films, but she's like one of the faces of the world that this is built within Woodsboro. Gale Weathers, obviously the only tragedy we really have from her the entire film, other than being punched in the face, which that's kind of part of her investigative journal. She's kind of worth that, but it's the fact that she, with Dewey's passing in the fifth one, that's the only time we truly see any like legitimate like hurt from her. But in one of 5 movies, I feel like, and that's only for a little bit in 5 movies, I don't think that's bad. She gets her own talk show in 5. She wrote the book, The Woodsboro Murders, in 2. And then, she had some up and downs in terms of her career, but that's kind of investigative journalism. So out of everyone with the entire franchise, she had the best experience in relation to these murders just because of how she's benefited from them.
And
Yeah, y'all are crazy.
Time out 1 second. Chad, to answer your question, I don't believe you can do that. Yeah. All right. JPO, whenever you're ready, who do you think's having the best old time?
I think you guys are crazy. I decided to go almost in the same vein of Gale, but I'm going with her camera guy Joel from the second movie. Why is he the best pick? Because he is the smartest person in this franchise. When shit starts to go down, he GTFOs, and then when things are all kind of good again, he's back in for that job to make that paycheck. And guess what? I'm sure that dude went on to get promotions, and he could write his own book. And guess what? None of his family members or friends died. He has the best experience. He has a tale to tell the rest of his life. He is the coolest guy in the room because he can be like, yeah, man, I was there. And he can kind of twist the tiles. Maybe he'll be like, yeah, man, I was there when Randy died, because he totally should have died, Chad. I was there when all that shit went down, and no one's ever hunted me. I don't get no phone calls. Here we are years later, that dude sipping Mai Tais, reading about all these stories, probably from a plush suite. He probably works at Gale's show as a producer, and no one that he ever knew died because he was smart to get the fuck out when he found out what happened to the last
time. All right. Now we're going to go into our arguments, building them up. Chad, you're first again. You're first of 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I love how JPO just ended up making up a bunch of shit. He had a lot of fun doing it. But no, Joel is a very neutral character. He comes in for like 2 days. He was never even really a part of at all of the original Woodsboro Murders. So, coming in to the second film and just like having nothing to do really except for risk his life, I feel like he's neutral, bordering on very negative as far as risking his life. He did get out, that's cool, but yeah, he didn't really have any impact at all. Gale, I thought of Gale, but then I was like, no, wait, is she positive? Gale does benefit off of the misery of others, and then she goes on to spawn a franchise, make money, but is she really happy? She loses the love of her life, and then I can't go on to other films, but she's not really happy, is she? And so I'm like, she's never really going to live past that high that she had at the very beginning.
Henry, you're up.
So in case I misinterpret the question is the most positive experience, not the most positive vibes and emotional state. And even if it was the case, Sydney is the antithesis of what you're describing anyway, because literally everyone that she knows has died or is a result of the killing. Literally her boyfriend murdered not only her mother, tried to frame her father as a killer, tried to kill her, but also was just part of the killings of all you got in the school. In the second one, for the longest, she assumed that her boyfriend was the killer. So she's not even having the vibe of that. And then he does die. So it's one of those things where she doesn't have that. Everything in 3, she meets her brother, reveal, and then he is part of the killer and she has to kill him. In 4, oh cool, she has a has a husband from 3, but like in 4, her niece her niece is actually the killer. So everything about her relationship with this entire franchise is negative. Gale Weathers, like I said, unless I misinterpret the question, it's the most positive experience because of everything that she's garnered and gained from this. And guess what? Everything that JPO said is literally just like an NPC and a huge what if. We don't know that for a fact.
That's it. JPO, you're up for your first minute.
Sydney benefited? Oh my God, you know that girl is tortured for life. Her boyfriend is murdered multiple times, including the first person she slept with after he tries to kill her. Thank God the first person I slept with, Catherine, didn't do that. That's a real true story. You know she is paranoid for life, man. You know she's back with Patrick Dempsey, locking doors because she's been tried to murdered 5 times by 9 different people. Her aunt has died. Her cousin tried to kill her. Her best friend. You know that girl doesn't have any best friends anymore after Rose McGowan and what's her face from 2 are dead. You know she's like, yeah, maybe it's better if we don't hang out after at the supermarket. And she never returned her home to Woodsboro without being literally petrified. It is not a place of love. It is a place of torture. And you know she does not have a good relationship with her dad, too, because that dude was never really around. Gale, how is she? The love of her life is dead, man. And you can see in her eyes that she lives a life of regret. You know what you can say for sure about my character? He alive and none of his friends be dead.
Chad, it's time for your second minute, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, no, you guys are right. A lot of terrible things have happened to Sydney. She is the main focus of the thing. So a lot of people wanted to do her wrong. But the positive experience is what she gains from that, how she becomes an even stronger person leading into her happy life that she gets to experience because of the Woodsboro murders, because of all these things that happen. She ends up becoming one of the greatest final girls in all of cinema. You know, that's for the real world, but even in her world, she becomes such a stronger character, you know, foiling all of these threats. And what does she do every single time that she has a downtime? She tries to help other people. She does a phone helpline to help people. She's always there to help her family. She even wrote a book called Out of Darkness, where she said, just when you think things can't get any worse, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they get better. And that's exactly the life that she goes on to live because she has the most positive experiences.
Time. Henry, you're up.
All right, so like I said, everything with Joel the Cameraman, he's just like an NPC. You just pitched a big old what if, and I understand that. Yes, hypothetically, if we had anything within these films that prove that, then yes, maybe you'd be the winner. But there's nothing to really showcase that. Everything with Sydney that you just tried to pitch with the whole be the counselor stuff. You know why counselors and psychologists are great at the job? Because they're smart and they've read from books, not because of actual life experience. And that's what Sydney's gotten within this world. Everything that happened to her in this film has showed her that she needs to have a gun. Literally in the 5th movie, do you have your gun? I'm Sydney fucking Prescott. Of course I have a gun. And while she's with her kids, that doesn't sound like a positive experience. That sounds like trauma. And JPO tried to, or one of you two tried to go with the whole Gale thing of the crying. That's not, once again, that's not until the 5th one. Literally for the first 4 movies, everything about her career and her life is positive. And she did technically gain a husband in Dewey. Sydney gained a husband in that one, but that's based, guess what? Without the Woodsboro murder, she could have gotten a husband in Billy. She could have got a husband in Derek. She could have got a husband at the very beginning of 3. Like there's multiple movies with those. She got husbands without the killings. Gale got a husband because of it.
JPO? Sorry. Yeah, JPO's right. Go, JPO. Sorry.
You do a lot of what ifs of my characters, but I can also just give you some hard facts. My man got paid. He never got fired. Get let him right back into the fold. And my man is alive. My man has a great story to tell the rest of his life, whether he's working at the news station or he's working in a hardware store. My man has the greatest story of all time, and he is smiling. He's not paranoid. He's leaving his door unlocked because he doesn't have to worry, unlike Sydney, who you know she's telling her girls, you come straight home after school. I've been almost murdered 47 times. You know she's telling Patrick Dempsey, where were you? She still probably doesn't totally trust him. And Gale, man, you can tell that, like, you know, you say that she hasn't had trauma. They break up in the 2nd movie. They're kind of falling apart in the 3rd. They're married. They're divorced by the 4th. Like, this is not a happy character. She puts the murders first. And in fact, if there wasn't all these murders, they actually probably would have lived a good life. They probably would have stayed married. But because she always puts that first, they ends up breaking up the relationship. And you can tell that she's cynical in that matter here. Sydney is the most traumatized person out of anybody. Joel, man, he got paid and he's alive.
And we're going to go to our closings. Chad, your 1 minute closing.
Yeah, I mean, just like JPO said, Gail is just kind of an asshole that loses everything, cannot move on from like the murders. It's sad. She can't find her own happiness despite having all that money, despite getting all that stuff. You know, I think about the positivity. I don't think about just money. It's like it's not just she profited off of it. That's negative in itself, and it also leads to her just being sad. You know, whereas Sydney learns from all of these terrible experiences, turns them into positives. She like learns to open up to people. At the end of Scream 3, she leaves the door open. She's like, no, I'm not going to let all of these people tear me down and bring me down and make me distrustful of everyone. She leaves the door open, turns off the security system. She's found the love of her life. She's found peace in this world, despite all of that terrible stuff. So yeah, the positivity comes from Sydney being that great person that can move on, that can take all of this terrible stuff and try to make sure that it doesn't happen to anyone else. So yeah, she's having positive experience. She's helping other people have positive experiences. Joel had no experience, and Gail just can't move on. It's a very negative, sad place for her.
Henry, you're up for your final. Henry, you're not.
I'm not Henry.
Yeah,
I
you're
wish I
Henry.
was.
Henry. There you go.
Joel the cameraman is alive. Gail and Sydney are alive. Wash. Joel got paid. He didn't even get the overtime that he wanted in that movie. Gail is rich. Wash, or my point there. And Sydney, who even knows what she's doing for work, because you don't even have that. Everything that you have that distinguishes the difference between Gail and Sydney, Gail literally profits off that. And you guys keep saying that she's sad and stuff, but nothing within that film actually showcased that, except for some fighting with her and Dewey. But guess what? The reason that relationship doesn't work has nothing to do with the Woodsboro murders. That just showcased that they're just different personalities. But the Woodsboro murders brought them together. And when they actually stripped down their different personalities, the true heart and the true core of that relationship is genuine and is true love, and that's what keeps bringing them together, and that's why they keep willing to make it work. And that's why when Dewey does die, that, yes, it is tragic in terms of heartbreak, but you, in order for that to be heartbreak, you had to truly have loved someone, and that's what you built up with that. Like I said, everything with Sydney's character, every relationship that she's ever had has resulted in death or resulted in someone being a murderer, especially her family. And you got everything with her husband, that once she got married, we didn't even see him. So how truly happy is she? And everything with her kids, the only time we see them is she says she has to have a gun, and that is sad and tragic.
JPO closes out.
It's far from a wash, Henry. At the end of number 2, Sydney, her boyfriend and best friend are killed. Not exactly very happy. Gail is still cynical, thinking about the news report, and guess what? Dewey just barely lived. She almost lost the love of her life here, man. My guy, he is smiling at the end because he just saw that what he did was the best choice out of anyone. He stood away while all the shit went down, and now he's back to reclaim the glory and continue his job. Gail, man, money doesn't equal happiness. You can see in the 4th one, she's still lying to Dewey here. And then, by the 5th one, Dewey's gone and they're divorced. Sydney, just because you can't turn what happened to her to a positive, Chad. Just because she is the most brave character, maybe, and has withstood all of that, doesn't make it a benefit. You know what I mean? She is still obviously somebody like Henry said, carries a gun with her all the time. She's back to locking those doors, because after 3, there's 2 more movies where, again, she was almost murdered by several people. She is the most tortured out of anybody here, man. That's why she finally has to stay away from her own hometown, because from the killings, and she's that paranoid.
And time. That's the end of that. Let's kick it over to the judges. Tabulate your results. We're going to start with Jacob this time. When you're ready, you let me know.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
All right. Go ahead.
All right. So yeah, for third, I have JPO on this one. I think, he just mentioned, yeah, my character's alive and has money, and that's what he kept mentioning. It was a lot more repetition, and I think he kind of picked an easy choice to kind of argue for it, but didn't really do much with it. Did some nice tearing down, but I think Henry and Chad both did a good job of retorting those remarks. So I have him at a 7.5. First and second again was really close. Because I think they both did a really good job of taking all these traumatic experiences that these 2 characters went through and putting a positive spin on them. I think for me, I have Henry the second, but it's a barely second, because I think so. I have Chad first, and I think I was just more impressed with how Chad was able to take all these traumatic experiences that Sydney went through, and spin them as a positive, because yeah, there was a lot of death that happened because of Sydney, or linked to Sydney, and she was able to grow from it, learn from it, and yeah, I can't tell you much more. It was really close. It was like, if I could give Henry an 8.4, I would. Like, it'd be an 8.5 to 8.4 sort of situation. But since Henry said halves, I got to give Henry a 8 and Chad an 8.5.
I'm going to go next. I kind of have it the same exact way. JPO, you made great arguments, but it's such a narrow character to deal with. Like, we know he runs away. We know he comes back. We know he made a brilliant decision, but we don't know anything about him from Scream 1, 3, 4, 5, whatever. So I think all the stuff where everybody highlighted the fact that he's Henry, I believe, called him an NPC 5 times. That's pretty accurate. I gave JPO a 7.5. I had Henry in second at 8.5. And I have Chad at 9.5 in first. Basically, it's because it's really like, what is the definition of success? Henry defined Gail's success. Obviously, she's very financially successful, whereas Chad kind of gave a whole person approach and showed that Sydney was successful in multiple different domains in life. So I have to go with that.
All right. Excuse me. I too have a 7, 8, 9 situation, and I too had trouble deciding between Henry and Chad for second and third place in this situation. Chad gets 7 points for me on this one. And he, I love the line of the treatment of Sydney Duvall was necessary. Or Sydney Prescott. It's not Shelley Prescott. Sydney Prescott. Sorry.
You got there.
Yeah. But yeah, the treatment of her was definitely necessary to make this movie great. Yeah, that was a fun little bit there. But yeah, it's just he got dumped on. Like, everyone she loves dies or is a killer. You can't trust anyone when you're Sydney. She's got to carry a gun with her kids. It's sad. He just got knocked really hard there. Henry at 8 points for me on this one. I liked what he said, how Gail profited and wrote the book and became a star, and it's just like, for the killings, a lot of good things happened to her. But like she does lose Dewey. She does get sad. She is cynical. So I don't know if benefiting from these terrible things necessarily makes for the happiest of situations. JPO won it for me, despite the NPC, despite all of that, because that dude is probably having the best time. Like, he is having the happiest time. He didn't lose, tossing out all the hypothetical stuff. He did end the movie smiling. He didn't get fired. He wasn't hunted. He got the fuck out when it was appropriate to get the fuck out of that situation. Didn't lose any of his loved ones. Got paid. So despite him picking the obvious choice, and like, maybe we don't know too much about him, like, as far as the basis of the question, I think JPO got it.
And so with that said, based on the math, Tato really making the math fun there. In third place is JPO with an average of 8, and divided or separated by 1 point.
Damn.
And your winner, Chad, with a total of 3, clearly with that point as well. So everyone on screen for this, John, take your hosting. Go back to it. But I just wanted to do the math there for you.
Well, we broke it down. So let's start with our third place finisher, JPO. Clearly, entertaining choices. Gotta say, I didn't have issues with any of your choices. But how'd you feel going through it? What was your favorite thing to do? You got any plugs? What's next for you?
I don't know, lots of stuff, man. No, this is a lot of fun here. Like I said, I do love this franchise. I've been finished 1 while we're talking. 4 is on in the background right now. No, I think it went really well here. You know what I mean? There's several very close rounds, even at the end. Different opinions. Different places. So, Chad's a great debater here. I've fought him before. I've lost him before. I'll get you one these days, Chad. You are my will, Brendan Fraser. And Henry's a great debater as well here. And Steve, like everyone kind of said too, like I think each time kind of like grab something better and better to talk about. It was doing really good too. I would like to have actually seen him in this last round, but he had to go to sleep. But no, it's a lot of fun. Appreciate being here. Plugs the Puresco. People play trivia like these guys.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our second place finisher, Henry. The reason why we're all here today, for the most part, putting this all together. Again, yeah, solid choices. And you took a lot of risks, and I gotta say, I gotta give you credit for taking risks. You took definitely the riskiest choices. Best defense is the riskiest choices. I don't know if that was intentional. Probably was, knowing you. How you feeling? What are you plugging? What's going on next for Henry?
So the reason that I created the War Room is because kind of what we talked about at the beginning is it gets a little tiring. No shade on anything else, but it gets a little tiring of just doing best, worst, and all that stuff where you get creative. And that's why I let competitors write their own questions so you can get creative in that perspective, but also the answers can be more creative. You can be spread out. You can take more risk. And especially in the exhibition format, you're more willing to take that risk. It's like an independent film that you're backing your own. So it's like, yeah, it's risky, but it's also like you're really losing nothing other than, your own time and effort and technically money for the films. But anyway, I had a lot of fun with this. Obviously we proved, obviously we had a little behind the scenes stuff. So, I mean, we literally cut we did the same exact questions and we cut almost a whole hour off it. So it just showcased that once we go down to 3 competitors, that this whole format could probably be in one episode. It doesn't even have to be episodic like this. So this was a great time. You guys were fantastic. I handpicked all these competitors for a reason, and you guys all showed out. Shout out to the judges. You guys understood after the fact how the format went. It went fluid, and you guys did a fantastic job. Jacob, newer to this and, not doing it as often. Tato, you're a seasoned veteran now over at Battleground, judging a bunch of time. And then John, you're a seasoned competitor. So you have a perspective of being a good competitor as well as also a good judge. So you did a fantastic job. So shout out to everyone here, and check out the channel. All 5 episodes of this are going to be on there. The VSQ, all 5 episodes are there. MTV tournaments are going on, Jeopardy's, drafts, all that stuff on the channel. And then probably New York Jets content when we get the Jets, until I make my own channel.
And unsubscribe. Okay. Moving on to our champion today, Chad Webb. Chad, I gotta say, not real criticism. You had the best picks. Like you had I think for a fan of the franchise, hearing your picks, you had the most common sense picks. Do you feel like that was an advantage, or is that your plan? How do you feel about winning? What are you plugging? What's going on with Chad?
Well, just to answer your question, I tried to make common sense picks, just the picks that I thought were probably the most correct. I went with Sydney over Gail just because I was like, is Gail really happy? And then, with, I don't know, I like to fight with Marine Evans a lot because I just love that movie. I love that kill. And, I just think that I don't know. I don't know. I'm facing Dewey here. That's pretty brutal. It's hard. And then Randy is a personal love of mine. So yeah, a lot of them were just from my heart, and I was just trying to fight them. And I love how pretty much every round was someone different was getting the love and the first place and stuff like that. I was like, wow, it's every single round. Except for Mesa, but even Mesa, in that last round, I was like, that closing he did for Jennifer Jolie, that I was like, everyone's just gonna throw her to the side. And then he just had a brilliant kind of thing there. And that last round with Tato coming in and judging the way he did, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, is everyone going to end up just picking JPO because he has the safe choice? And
the correct choice, yeah, you're right.
And the thing about it too, though, JPO, is that you really actually was selling it. So I was sitting there stop making up shit, dude. But yeah, it's really an honor to win this because I know I was facing a bunch of other really great Scream fans, but I really wanted this one because I just adore the Scream franchise, and it feels good to have your arguments and opinions validated sometimes. So yeah, thank you everybody. And to plug things, yeah, I'll just plug my channel, Chadwick Webb. We rank stuff. We did rank Scream. But I feel like we're going to have a redux at some point with all the new ones coming out. Maybe when 7 comes out, we'll do that. Check out Welcome to Prime Time over the Nerd Entertainment Network, where we talk about horror. We rank Buffy stuff. We just did a whole review on Scream 6. I don't know, Hunter will drop that, but that was really fun. That was an hour and a half because it's a really great film that I love. And then check out the Dill Pickle Movie Network, where we talk Oscars, Best Picture stuff. We're doing the 2022 Best Pictures this month. And then check out my blog, Clear Eyes Full Heart Reviews.wordpress.com. I review everything. And thank you for having me because this was a blast. Holy shit.
All right, well, we'll just wrap it up there then. For myself, John Marr, your host, for Henry Confidential, the reason why we're here, for Chad, your winner, Chad McClud, the winner, JPO, always entertaining, for Jake Tato, for Jacob Barber. This has been the War Room, the Scream Exhibition match. Hope you enjoyed it, and like and subscribe, hit that bell.
Packs.
See you next time.
Insert end clip here.